Hi everyone, I'm Emily and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be talking about the concept open to everything, attached to nothing. So basically what I mean by this is just to be, embrace opportunities, experiences, and people and like people's opinions and just be willing and open to hearing what they have to say without cutting them down first and or without judging them. And then it's also just having an open heart, open mind. So it's like you can have any conversation with anyone without being triggered, and just allow for some very cool conversations to come up. But this is also, saying yes to certain things when you're like, don't feel like you want to go, or there's some unique experience that you're like, well, what is this going to help for me? You never know until you go and see. I mean, for me, I went to Burning Man one year in 2017, and when we got there, we were exhausted because we had drove a really long time. And so when we got there, we just wanted to, take a nap, relax. And so a friend of ours said to say yes to everything as long as you're comfortable with whatever it is. And so our friend was like, remember you said yes. So we decided to go to we got invited by our neighbors to have this a meal, and so that was my first year going. So when we were there, we decided to go, even though we were tired. And so when we got there, it was like a full blown French cuisine dinner. So it was like a 4-course meal. It was delicious. It was amazing. It was the last thing I was even thinking of being able to have out in the desert, with where no one else around really, except for us at Burning Man. And so it was really fun, and I'm glad we did it. And it was just an eye-opening experience to the fact that, even if you're tired, sometimes it's just good to go, even if it's for a little bit, or like to an event, or try something new, try new food, go travel, see what different cultures are about, and that way you'll open your mind to not just, what we're used to or what we grew up with. And so I just think that's very important. And so, and it's also is like to not, sorry, to not be overly attached to specific outcomes, people, or possessions. So it's like, for people, if you attach yourself to someone, they eventually will feel repelled by you, if not already. So it's almost like, yeah, like in relationships. So like your significant or somebody that you want to attract, and if you're constantly like clinging to them and wanting to be around them all the time, you eventually might actually lose them, or they might just be repelled by that, because then they feel like their space is compromised. And so then they don't feel that magnetic polarity with you. So just be aware of that. And then of course possessions, like, we can't take possessions when we go, when we die. So might as well enjoy possessions, but don't be attached to them. Like even like childhood things, yes, you can keep them if you want, but don't be attached to them, because they're only things. And I know they bring up emotions for some people, but just remember that emotions are just emotions, and you can have emotions with people and opportunities and experiences. And then the same thing with specific outcomes. So if you're having a conversation with somebody and it doesn't feel like it's going your way, just remember that it could be their opinion, not yours. And just because you don't agree doesn't mean the conversation has to be to go a different, or has to go the way you want it to. And also, like, if let's say you have a goal. So if you have a goal and you're like, but I want it to be exactly like this, if you're attached to it, you might not actually get it. So it's just being open to, having the ability to have like all these different paths to it. As long as you get to a certain goal, you don't have to actually take the exact same steps to get to it. Just remember, there's always a way to adjust, a way to change the way you think. There's different perspectives, different ways of doing things, and it's not always one size fits all. And so for me, going for my singing career, I was taught a while ago because I was in this leadership program, and I was always like, but it has to go a certain way. I have to, if I want to get to my dreams, I have to, sing, do this, do that, to get there. And somebody was like, well, what if you do this and then that? And I was like, I didn't even think about that because I was so tied to the outcome and how it had to go. So don't be tied to the outcome, because it's amazing what can develop when you are not tied to it. So just being open and not attached. Here are some practical applications you can do to being open to everything and attached to nothing. So basically, practicing mindfulness and presence. So when you're being aware of what you're doing and you're thinking of, you just be aware of your thoughts and just notice them, and just remember they're just thoughts. They don't always mean they're not always truth. And then the same thing is just learning to be fully present in the moment. So not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future, not worrying about it. Just remember to live in the moment, because there are a lot of gems in living in the moment, where when you're living in the past or the future, you're overthinking and you're going to get yourself in a spiral cycle. And so, or a nasty pattern of going back and just being like, well, it's probably not going to be this way, or it can't be this way. So some ways to practice mindfulness and is to take breaths and to realize, either if you're triggered or if you're not paying attention or you're starting to worry or be overwhelmed, just try to take a step back and take a few breaths, give yourself a minute, or walk away from the situation, whatever it is, and just remember to try to keep calm, but yeah, just remember that you have the opportunity to change your state in any moment at any time. So try really hard not to think about the past or the future. I know it's not easy. I know I fall into that trap, but I find when I'm starting to do that, sometimes I'll journal, or I'll find, I don't know, an exercise or go take a walk just to clear my head a little bit, and just, it's very important. And the other thing is flexibility and adaptability. So just being able to be flexible. So this one was a hard one for me, because a long time ago, if I felt like I was busy and somebody would try to ask me if I wanted to go do something, or try to ask me to fit in a call, I would get very triggered, because I'm like, well, don't you understand how busy I am? And so that was more about me and my thoughts. So when I started slowly taking baby steps of becoming more flexible with my schedule, with the just flexibility in general. So it's so now if somebody tries to go, oh, hey, do you want to go do this? Or, hey, you should come and do this. I sometimes get triggered, because I'm like, dang it, I have so much work I have to get done, that I always feel like I'm behind. So then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to get in the cycle. But if I get triggered, then I just go, okay, I have to think about it. Is this actually something that I should be doing for my career, or to progress whatever it is I'm working on, like my dreams, something health-wise, or some new knowledge, or to go to meet someone specific. This happens quite a bit to me, so I just have to learn what works and what doesn't work, or what actions I should be taking and which ones I should not be taking. And then also just adaptability. So just being open to new situations, new people, being okay with getting out of your comfort zone, and just, so just think of ways to just sit back and be like, okay, so here's what I want to do, but if allow somebody to input something, and if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, then don't do it. And remember, you can say no to things. So just try to be flexible if you can. I know that was a very hard one for me, and it still is, but I'm working on it, and I'm just trying to do the best that I can. But you got this. So just remember, flexibility and adaptability is huge in this world, because a lot of us are stuck in our ways. And so if we push outside our comfort zone, you learn a lot about yourself, and there's a lot of growth in pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. I know, I've done it a lot. So you guys got this. Also, just being in gratitude and appreciation. So for me, I do my best in the morning and evening to do at least three thoughts of gratitude. So it's like, for me, like, it's simple stuff too. It's like, I'm grateful for the fact that I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful for the fact that I have a really good job, and I'm able to pay for a lot of my singing because of my job. Yes, I may not love my job, but I'm grateful the fact that I even have it. So I'm not struggling. I'm not a struggling artist trying to figure my way out and not able to, move farther along because of that financial burden. And so it's also just being appreciative for what you have. Like, the fact that you have a car to get around. Some people don't even have a car. Remember that you have the option, be grateful for the food you're able to eat, or the fact that you worked out in the morning, or the fact that you have friends, the fact that you have a significant other. It's just, there's so many things. There's so many things to be grateful for, and we forget to be grateful. And when you are grateful, you find more abundance in your life. And so I think that's really huge. And just being appreciative for the people in your life who are trying to help you, whether you agree with them or not, or you feel like they're pushing you, a lot of times it's because they actually love you and they want you to succeed. And so if they are supportive, but they're trying to push you to keep doing it, but you're feeling resistive, just think about the fact that you even have somebody to be encouraging or supportive of you. A lot of people don't even have that. So just remember that. But keep up with gratitude. Gratitude is a huge part for abundance, I promise. And then just being in non-judgment zone. So there's so many things we can judge on. I know I'm at fault for this, and I know I want a community in my community, I want people to feel safe and, not judged. But I do find that I have a hard time with that, because I have this thought process from back when I was a childhood that life's not fair and the world is judgmental. And because I have that thought from as a child, I tend to be judgmental of people or critical of people. I also grew up like that in a household. And so just remember that people are judging you just as much as you are judging them. And I find that a lot of times when I do judge somebody, a lot of times I'm wrong. And so I just sit back and go, I don't even understand why I even judge them, just because they look different or say things differently. So I'm starting to learn to embrace people the way they are. I know that's tough, but it's accepting people fully as who they are, not trying to change them, not trying to fix them, and just being with them. And if you don't like them, then move on. I mean, find somebody that you do like. So it's being in the non-judgmental zone. It's very tough. I understand that. But I know with people, I'm like, oh, well, why is she taking over the gym? And I'm like, the fact that she's even in the gym is a plus. So I try to change my perspective on that. So it's like, how can you change your perspective towards somebody if you are being judgmental? Just remember, we all didn't come from we didn't grow up the same. So we all have different programming from our families or who raised us. And so we all are trying to do our best. Remember that. Try to have compassion and empathy for people, and be sympathetic, but be generous and give people some grace. I know that that's a hard thing for me, so I'm still working on that. I'm not perfect, but I'm doing my best. So just do what you can, and you got this. So remember that it's our chance to change the world so that we are not as judgmental or negative or critical of each other. This is important because society as a whole, I feel like, is very judgmental and critical and mean to each other. So let's push more love and less hate and meanness towards people. And the other thing is like letting go. This is releasing the attachments. So I know for me in the past, I anyone that I would date or romantically be involved with, I know that I would have a hard time. I'd always want to be around them 24/7, and it was almost like a codependency thing, and it probably still is. And because as an inner child, like I always wanted to be around people, and so when they weren't, I took it as offense. Well, but you got to remember that people need their own space and their own time, and everyone's different. And if the more you attach to somebody, the more they detach. So remember that as well. And I know that can be a tough thing because I still have some codependency things, but I know if I control or attach or try to force an outcome on my husband, is not going to work, and it's going to backfire on me, and it's going to actually repel him instead of wanting to be closer with me. And I know that. So it's just like a work in progress. Just think about it. We're physically and emotionally attached to certain things. So do your best to let go. Don't hang on to the past. Don't hang on to worrying about the future. Just pre-plan for the future and just be okay with being flexible around it. But it's okay, and just keep moving forward. Just do your best to not attach yourself to people, outcomes, or things and possessions. So the other thing is personal growth. This is a huge thing. So just be open to learning and evolving. The more you learn, the more you evolve, the more growth you have in you. So because we all have lessons. So remember, every negative feelings or every upset or every trigger is all a learning lesson. So even the bad things that happen to you is all a learning lesson. Yes, I know things are not fair, but life is not fair, and that's always going to be how it is. So if you take that approach, you're gonna find like why is it that I feel like this, or why is it that triggered me, and just reflect on yourself. Is it something inside you that also you hate about yourself? That's why someone else is triggering you. For example, for me, I can be very controlling. So then when like controlling, like wanting to force an outcome on somebody or a situation, and I find also that I get very triggered by somebody trying to force something on me or make me do something, because then I'm totally repelled. So it's like that's the mirror that I have to look at. So it's a pattern that when somebody triggers me, I have to look like, why are they triggering me? So just remember that. Just try to look at little things, and everything in our life is a lesson. You're not always going to have positive experiences. You won't always have negative experiences. Just remember that each moment is a new day, a new time. Just be in the present, and remember that growing, researching, learning new things about yourself, whether it's health, female issues, I don't know, hair growth, like you wanting to grow your hair more, or just there's so much stuff to learn out there. Just start researching. Just be open to researching or finding a mentor and learning from them, because it's amazing what you can learn in, I don't know, a year or less. So just keep at it. Your growth is essential for creating the life that you love. Just remember that, okay? And then having compassion and empathy are a massive thing in this world. So when you're talking to somebody or engaging with people, just remember to have compassion and empathy for them. We're all going through our own shit. And so, if someone's having a bad day and and you feel like you're being attacked by them, just maybe take a step back and go, well, I wonder what's going on in their life that they, snapped at me like that. And just remember that it's not all about you, even though sometimes I like it to be about me. Just remember that everyone's going through their own shit. Have compassion, be empathetic, and don't make them feel wrong for it. If they're having a bad day and you can tell that they're having a bad day, maybe just ask them how their day is going, to see if they need to unload, or they need to talk to somebody, because you never know what's going on through their life. I have friends that have had losses, like their friends, their significant other has passed away or something, and so they're angry and they're mad. So just allow them this space to open up to you without you cutting them down if they snap at you. Trust me, I understand that's a tough feat, but it's just being aware of it and just doing your best to remember that other people are going through their own stuff. Trust me, like I understand that it's tough, because I know for myself, if I'm in a bad mood too and somebody snaps at me, it's too easy for me to want to snap back. But sometimes if I snap back, I have to sit back and be like, oh crap, I snapped. But sometimes I'm like, okay, I take a breath, and then I'm like, okay, look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to snap at you. How can we resolve this situation? Or how can I help you? Or is there anything I can support you with? Sometimes just offering that just lowers or decreases the elevation of emotions. So sometimes just remember that we all are going through our own stuff. Here are some mindfulness practices you can implement if it works for you. So each one of these, you can try all of them. You can try one, you can try a few. It's whatever you feel like. So basically the first one is meditation. I find that meditation is a huge help, and it's just amazing. It's amazing how much just 5 to 10 minutes can do. So it's just sitting in silence. I use the app Insight. So I use that app, and I find the music that I like. So it can be like binaural beats, or it can just be a calmness, or it can be like rainforest. It's just whatever works for you. You can even do guided. I know that Headspace is another app, and they also have other options. So I think both of them are a great option. It just depends on what works for you. And I'm sure you could even find some meditations on YouTube. But so if you're consistent with meditation, you'll find that you are less reactive throughout the day. You are more calm. Sometimes you actually get insight into your higher self. So in my opinion, it's an amazing tool to have in your back pocket. And it's something that's, I think, very important to do consistently, even if it's only 5 to 10 minutes a day. And then you can always increase the time, or, try different meditations. You're not stuck. So just remember that meditation is extremely powerful, and it can also help raise your vibration and your consciousness level, so that you're not always in your head, your thoughts. So it helps direct you back into your body, help you breathe and relax you. So there's one. Another one I find is very powerful for me is journaling. I find that it's really funny, because I'll start writing, at night, and I'll start being like, oh, this is how my day went, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, so it's like the first little bit can be crap. It's just to get things out of your head, so you're not sitting there thinking about it over and over. Even if you don't think you have a lot of things going on in your head, it's amazing what comes down when you're writing it out. So I find that after like a few little snippet sentences of like how my day was, I find that I start getting into more of a flow, and it's more empowering of what I start writing, or it's more wisdom, and I'm like, I didn't even know I had that kind of wisdom in me. So yeah, it's just like it's also tapping into your higher self, and it's also tapping into your creativity, and you're more aware of things, and heck, even you can like solve your own problems in writing. I've done that multiple times, and I'm like, huh. I'm like, that's crazy that only like 5 to 10 minutes of writing can do that. So I try to do that every night. I would love to do it more often, and if let's say somebody triggers me, if I start writing, it's amazing how quickly I'm able to diffuse myself and my anger, because I'm able to get it out all on paper. And sometimes when you're triggered, or if you snap at somebody, you can either realize, yes, that is a valid reason why you were angry, or there wasn't even anything to be angry about. It was just something that you're dealing with that just happened to trigger at the same time. So it's like it gives you more of an open mind and more wisdom into your life, in my opinion. And then for me, I don't normally do yoga, but I do dance and I do a lot of exercise. But I hear a lot of people who do yoga is a huge one. And so because it's tapping into your body, and getting you out of your head. So the whole point is like heart body consciousness. And so when you're doing yoga, it puts you into your body and gets you out of your head. Same thing with sometimes exercise. So any type of exercise. For me, I do weightlifting, and sometimes I do some cardio, but I do mostly weightlifting because that just works better for me and my body. Although if I need to, let's say, read through a bunch of emails, getting on the elliptical helps me a lot, so that I'm able to just sweat, but also go through, I also have another task that I'm doing, so I'm not having to do both separately and take more time to do both. Sometimes I have a very limited time to work out. The other thing is dance. So that's also another thing that gets you out of your head. And I'm sure stuff like kickboxing, or maybe running, walking. There's so many other ways that connect to your body. Oh yeah, also like some somatic exercises that gets you out of your head and into your heart and into your body. So we're in our heads so much. You need an outlet to get out of your head, or you can get in a spiral. I know for me, that's for sure. Other thing is like positive affirmations. So, I don't use affirmations app as much, but I have an affirmations app that pops up every so once in a while, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's really perfect for right now. So it could be anything like let's say you're constantly dealing with that you don't think you're worthy enough. You start doing affirmations like, I am worthy. I am worthy. And you do that on a consistent basis, and your brain eventually can switch over to the fact that and make you think that you are worthy. And which is a good thing, because then you can take actions towards things that you want to do or you dream to do. And so I think that's really important. And then I really like what Mel Robbins does. She does this thing where you're looking in the mirror every morning and you give yourself a high five. And I know that it's very empowering, because then you're like, because it's talking to you and your inner self, and you're like, I can do this, no matter, even if you don't feel good that day, or you're not feeling motivated, or you're upset. Just giving yourself I'm let's do this kind of thing. It actually helps rewire your body and your brain. So I think that's a very powerful tool. So just find some affirmations that work for you. So it's like, if you are not, if you struggle with money, be like, I am abundant with, my wealth or my money. And, just do affirmations like that on a regular. And eventually that's also will create a consistent habit for your mental and your heart and body, and eventually your mind will switch over. And it takes a while, but just keep at it and be consistent. Be consistent with all of these. And then another one would be like nature walks. So it's just taking a walk. It's probably, I mean, any walk I think would help, but nature walks, like walks on the beach or walks through the trees, and just getting in tune with the earth. Even sometimes taking off your shoes and putting your feet on the physical ground, like grass or dirt, and it does this grounding thing. So it's a way to like charge your body up, because we're constantly like, we're constantly either indoors or sitting down, and we just don't have the opportunity to feel the like the magnetics of the earth. So we're constantly, and so then we're not in our head, or we're also in our head. So when you're grounding, it helps you get into your body and into the earth, which is how in the caveman days, or way back in the day before anyone had shoes or even had anything related to our society now. So it's just getting in tune to your body and yourself. So it's like being around water, being in the water, even like walking on the beach, walking on the ground, finding like a forest and walk through the forest, or find a field and walk through the field barefoot. I know that sounds weird, but it actually really rejuvenates. I actually just did that. I had an appointment, and I was like, I really wanted to go to the beach, but I don't have the time right now to go to the beach. So I was like, where's the nearest park? So I found a park nearby, and I just took my shoes off and walked around the grass for like 20-30 minutes, and I just felt like this calm. And so then I was able to be like, okay, and plus the sun helps getting your vitamin D. So, and I just felt like a calm about me. I was super relaxed, and I felt like I was able to, I wanted to go to the beach, but I was able to go, okay, I have bigger things that I'm up to. So let's just go back home and get some stuff done. So, but it's very calming and grounding. I highly recommend it. I know I live in an apartment complex, so there's not a lot of grass around where I can just walk around barefoot. So for me, I have to go somewhere. So if you have like a backyard, just walk around the backyard barefoot. It's very, very calming, I promise. So yeah, I just encourage everyone to, embrace the open to everything, attached to nothing philosophy, and just do your best. Do your mindfulness practices, and you will go far. And there's so many ways to go about this. So do what works for you. And I encourage you just to keep at it. Take each day at a time, and don't beat yourself up over it. If you don't take action, just the next day, do something else. Just each day, work on improving yourself in your life and elevating your frequency and your vibrancy, because you are important. And we all are working on something in this world. So remember that. So like, comment, and share. And I'd love to hear more from you guys. And thank you again for watching. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.